Welcome back. Well, this is timely. It's been on every nightly newscast. I'm talking about travel. It has been a crazy week and a half for anyone traveling by plane during the busy holiday season, from delays and cancellations to computer outages. It has been, as Mariah Carey would say, a rough road for travelers and the airline industry. Here with some insight and to talk about what travelers need to know is our good buddy, the one and only, the founder of Thrifty Traveler, Jared. Hi, Jared.
Good to see you, Jason.
Good to see you. Okay, let's get right to it. As I said, it's been in every newscast. There's just delays, cancellations, no matter the airline, Delta, United, Sun Country here locally. What do we know? What's the latest, my friend?
Yeah, airlines, kind of to sum it up, they've been over-promising and under-delivering between, Omicron variant requiring, airline employees to go into quarantine, winter weather, just overall rising in demand. Like domestic air travel is at the same levels as 2019, pre-pandemic. So there's all these things coming together that are causing, these massive, delays and cancellations that we've seen since Christmas.
And let's talk specifically about COVID and the variant. Are sick employees part of the cause for these backups and cancellations?
Yeah, there's no question. It's definitely a component. It's one of those key variables. Airlines are just stretched so thin. So any type of, change or anything to their overall, operational structure, and it just kind of falls apart. No matter if you're Delta, Spirit, JetBlue, American, every airline is experiencing issues.
And there's really, and unfortunately, I don't mean to put you on the spot, there really isn't a quick fix for any of these CEOs. Am I right, Jared? I mean, there's nothing within their power to make this easier. Am I right on that?
Yeah, it's complicated. We actually have an opinion piece on this at thriftytraveler.com today that's all about how things need to change, like enough is enough. So right now there's currently no penalty to the airlines, if they do delay or cancel flights, which isn't the case elsewhere in the world, especially like in places like Europe.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go read that as soon as I get off the air. Okay, there's a lot of news. The CDC came out, I believe, yesterday. The director was all over the place talking about this shortened quarantine period, I think down to 5 days. Is that going to help? And what are you hearing from the actual folks on the front lines? How are they feeling about this anecdotally?
Yeah, so it's changing the quarantine period from 10 days to 5 days, shortening it should definitely help. One could only hope, that'll help, the airlines kind of get back on track. But I know JetBlue, they've been canceling thousands of flights in advance already into January, just trying to kind of streamline and make their operations a little bit smaller. So they have to do fewer, delays and cancellations. I mean, I don't see this changing for the next, few weeks.
What are passengers going to do? Okay, if they're going to MSP, like I'm heading there a little bit later. I actually have a real-time question for you in a second. But what are folks? What are our rights? What can we do if our flights are canceled? And there's a lot of canceled flights right now.
So this is a big thing, knowing your rights as an airline passenger, because most people are like, I have no idea. I just hope that it's not delayed or canceled. So like for you, Jason, before your flight, obviously have, I'm assuming you're flying Delta, so have the Delta app. But if you're flying, another airline, make sure you have the app on your phone. Make sure that you're looking. You can even just Google your flight number. Let's say you're on Delta flight 1234. Type that into Google. It'll show your flight and whether it's, delayed or canceled. Because the best thing is finding out if there's a delay or a cancellation and then trying to kind of get ahead of it, especially if there's a cancellation, picking up the phone, calling your airline, trying to get on the next flight.
Jared,
but if you are, go ahead.
No, go. Please continue, please.
Yeah, but if you are canceled, the most important thing is you are due a refund. You have to ask for it. The airline typically is not going to give it to you. They're going to try to give you a voucher for future use on the airline. But if your flight is canceled, you have to ask for that refund.
Right before we went on the air, Jared, I got a phone call from someone. They were talking to some friends yesterday. Both travel a lot. Both are TSA pre-check. And they said yesterday, I don't know the time, admittedly, but yesterday at MSP, they waited in TSA pre-check for around 2 hours. Are we also, I mean, are we seeing it with, have you heard about this, or should we be getting to the airport even earlier? What are the Yodas at Thrifty Traveler hearing about that?
Yeah, for the most part, just make your life a little bit easier. Get there 2 to 3 hours ahead of time.
Okay.
For the most, like I said, we're back to, domestic pre-pandemic travel, levels. So some of those lines may be longer. It really depends on when you're flying. If you're flying on a Sunday or Monday or a Friday, it might be very busy because, business travel has picked up as well.
Got it. Finally, before we take a break, and we have deals coming up, by the way. Speaking of problems, everyone's heard the Sun Country system outage. What happened?
Just one of the main things. We don't know a lot. Sun Country's not saying too much, but it does sound like there was some kind of a third-party software provider went down. So just kind of an IT meltdown where they, their systems were, they were dealing with paper to board people and clear through the FAA.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
Again, just another one of the many meltdowns that can possibly happen to airlines at this point.
Well, friends, as I said, Jared's sticking around. It wouldn't be a visit unless he had some good deals. He's going to share them when we come back. Back after this. Welcome back, friends. Our final live show, I should say, 2021. We have actually tomorrow's show is really funny, too. Welcome back. We're joined by, once again, by our friend Jared from Thrifty Traveler. Okay, Jared, let's get to spring break. We're going to get to deals in a second, but let's talk broadly. I know the answer, but when should folks start thinking about spring break? I know it's not even New Year's. Go.
You should have been thinking about it about last summer. That's when, if you want to book the cheapest flights, you'd be looking, up to 11 months out, using Google Flights, going to thriftytraveler.com, looking for those flight deals way out. But there still are some deals, available in the March timeframe.
Okay, so that's the when, now the where. What are some hot destinations overall, broadly speaking, for 2022?
Yeah, so if you can fly in January and February, there are some amazing domestic airfares, the Desert Southwest, as well as almost every airport in Florida through February. Now, if we want to start talking about, flights during spring break in that March timeframe, our top picks are, and again, you can go on Google Flights or go to thriftytraveler.com, Phoenix for $126, Cancun for $318, Orlando and Miami for under $200, and New York City for $168 as well. So New York's a little interesting one in there, but is one of the cheap places that you can go during spring break right now.
And those are the spring break deals. Can I ask you too? I've heard. It just came up last night at an event. Is Hawaii still cheap? I'm hearing people say Hawaii is like dirt cheap.
Yes. So through our Thrifty Traveler Premium subscription service, we sent out an alert to people from MSP. You could book this 2 weeks ago. Not bookable right now. Flights are around $500, but you could book flights with one stop on American for $265 round trip. So those deals pop up. They're available for like 6 hours, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
And then you hope, that we'll see them again. But one of the very few silver linings of, the latest COVID variant is flight prices are fluctuating wildly.
Yes.
So there are these opportunities, but you have to strike while the iron is hot.
I know this is a broad question with many variables and many tentacles, but in the variant era we're in right now, what do we need to know? What has changed within the last few weeks about testing and COVID in general traveling? What are the big headlines that stick out to you, Jared?
Yeah. So, for as much news as the latest variant has made, there's been very few worldwide changes as far as, what is required to go places. One of the big things in the last month has been if you are traveling internationally, you do have to have a COVID test within 24 hours or the day before you return to the U.S., no matter where you're traveling. That's probably the biggest change, which is actually pretty surprising because during, when Delta popped up, there were so many countries worldwide closing down. And you know what? We really haven't seen that.
Well, piggybacking off my question about Hawaii, Hawaii has always been very complicated and a little different. Are you seeing? Are you hearing any rumblings that they're going to change? Because it used to be you needed both a 48-hour test and a vaccination card, but then that changed and you don't need the test. How's Hawaii looking?
Yeah, I don't anticipate any significant changes. The best thing you could do is go to thriftytraveler.com and sign up for our daily newsletter. You're going to get that right into your inbox, and we're going to let you know about any changes, especially to Hawaii.
Absolutely. Well, Happy New Year, and my best to the family, and I look forward to more visits in 2022.
Happy New Year to you as well, Jason.
Thank you, Jared. Check out, as Jared said, the latest flight deals and travel news. Head to thriftytraveler.com. And when he refers to that premium service, I've been talking about it for 6 years. If you are a frequent traveler, it's great to have. It's like you get an alert and you got to jump on it. It's like a game. It's great, but that's in their premium service. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Miss Shannon and more after this.